Welcome back to the Olga S. Pérez Show. I'm your host, Olga. How you doing? Hey, so I have a surprise guest. Of course, the members know because I announced it for members only. So if you haven't become a member for exclusive uncensored content. But if you really want even better, more real, completely uncensored, join me on Locals. Sign up to Locals today. Our guest is here already, or my guest, your guest, our guest. And I can't wait to introduce him. In fact, well, just goes to show you how everything I do is real, live, raw, unscripted. I'm going to bring him in. I was going to tell you all about him. Maybe he can do it. Maybe he'll let me do it. Either way. All right, guys, without further ado, please welcome 5 times August, Brad. Brad, I don't know what to call you.
You can call me Brad. You can call me Mr. 5. People call me all sorts of stuff all the time. But yeah, Brad's fine. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here big time. So sometimes I'll ask guests like to send me a bio, and or sometimes I'll ask them like, do you want to introduce yourself? Look at me. I'm nervous. I'm verklempt. So I had brought up the part of the about on your YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, should I read it or would you like to introduce yourself?
I don't even know what's there at this point, but
I thought it was pretty accurate because I saw your podcast, on Timcast IRL.
Okay.
And I have it queued up, in fact, because I was like, do I just play that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I should have asked you. But yeah, 5 times August is the music creator by Dallas, bass singer / songwriter / guitarist Bradley James Skistimus. Is that correct?
Skistimus, yeah.
Skistimus.
You got it.
Which is my third language. And I'm dyslexic, so just bear with me. His songs have been heard on over 80 different TV shows, films, and commercials, and has been featured in People, Billboard, Guitar Player, and Performing Songwriter magazines. He has also appeared on the Fox Business Channel as an expert in, quote, do-it-yourself indie musician. 5 times August CDs have been sold across the country in Walmart and Best Buy stores and are available digitally on all streaming platforms. Is that pretty good?
That's pretty good. There you go.
There's some stuff missing, though, because I know you got a vinyl coming out. And I was just on a phone with a friend of mine who she's been collecting vinyls. Like, that's her thing right now. She's obsessed with that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's come back. They're outselling CDs now, so it's come full circle.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it was called the one you released. Is it
the album I have out is called Silent War.
That's it. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I released these series of sort of protest singles over the last year and a half and put them all together into one album back in November. And it's sort of just a kind of like a little time capsule of what we've all sort of gone through over the last 3 years. And it was nice to sort of put them together into one little document, and something tangible that you can hold on the CD and then the vinyl. People kept asking me for vinyl, and I was like, okay, I'll try to do a vinyl. But it's fun to do that because it sort of harkens us back to when you have music that you can hold and read the lyrics and stuff. People are so used to, like, our attention's so short. We're thumbing through music and entertainment all the time that it's nice to have something that you can put on and just listen to, and it's about the times and what we've been going through. So it's been great. I'm really grateful for the support, and how these songs have reached so many people over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think the way I found you was I was following was it Luke Rakowski?
Sure.
He's a guest on Timcast a lot, and he usually uses these little video bits and his video intros, and that's where I saw the one about Fauci.
Okay.
And then I don't know if it was him, but that's when I found the Gates behind bars or behind the bars, which is funny because I'm like, did you remember or you just happened to repost it today on Twitter? I was like, is it because he's my guest today? Or no way. Had nothing to do with it, right?
Well, I think I did repost it after sometimes I'll see somebody interact with a tweet that I posted. So I posted it yesterday because Gates was being talked about, and so I reposted it anyway.
Yes.
That's all you interact with it this morning. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just repost this today. So it was because of you, and I'm here. I'm here now. And so you mentioned that you got a strike or something on
Yeah, you
YouTube
want me to
for.
show you? Well, the strike is expired because it was like 3 months ago. So
Okay.
they give you a strike for 90 days, and they took the strike down, but they took the video down, and they will not put it back up.
That's crazy because I see the video itself on my YouTube channel it's age restricted. You have to be logged in to watch it. You get
Yes.
it. You get like 2 warnings before you can even watch it.
Yes, I saw that.
It's been demonetized, and then now I'm finding out that when like I've been wondering over the last sort of couple years, like where's the reaction videos to my videos? And that makes sense. Like they're getting taken down. It's not me, by the way. I want people to review these videos and talk about them and share them. So that's crazy. But it explains a lot why the videos aren't being seen as much.
Yes, that's me too. The views
Yeah.
that it got, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so pissed. But so I spent about 2 or 3 hours on, because unless you really have a lot of followers, right? Like say Tim Kessler, then you start getting like direct contact with people in YouTube, right? They have their own backdoor stuff going on. And I know that, but I'm going, that's not fair. Because what did I do wrong? I shared a video, I'm reacting to it, I'm commenting
Right.
on it. And I didn't say anything where that I agreed with it. I said I loved it. You know what I mean? But I didn't go, oh yeah, I believe. Again, if I use the jab word, if I use the C crotch 19, I call it word, like I can't, it's not that I won't say it. I won't give them the pleasure. They're already shadow banning me. It's because once they striked me, first of all the videos, I got 3 taken down. All of them had to do with the jab, with that brought to you by P. Because even if I say that word, it's like, oh, she's talking about it. And so of course, when I asked them to review it, they were like, it's misinformation. I'm like, okay, now we can all argue what is misinformation, right? Number 1. Number 2, it is your private company. You can do what the fuck you want with it. Okay, that's fine. But then I wanted YouTube. I wanted to make them sweat. I'm like, you can't just ignore me. And I started chatting with them, and they're like, okay, well, let's just double check. And they double check. They're like, no, ma'am, it's definitely, I just rewatched it, and thank you for waiting patiently. And it's definitely misinformation. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm commenting on a video. Where did my mouth say anything? Even if I did, it's an opinion. And we're in America. I don't care if you're a private company. I don't care about Section 230 or all other bullshit. Like, man, but I made this guy sweat because I thought, you think that's it? You're just going to tell me that I'm just going to go away? I'm like, you know what? You're getting paid. You're getting paid to just talk to me on the chat. I kept going and going and going. I'm like, I want specifics. I want specifics. Well, if you can't help me and you can't give me better answers, then put me with a manager. No, ma'am, I am a manager. I'm like, no, you're not. And I was just like, 2 hours. I even screenshotted the conversation. I should have like videotaped it. Anyway.
That's how you do it, though. I mean, that's what I've done. It would make more sense that they would take my video down and let you review it.
Exactly.
I don't understand that, but I mean, definitely, Gates Behind the Bars is age restricted, demonetized. Sad Little Man has been marked for medical misinformation, and which is stupid. I have videos that are just footage of rallies of people holding signs that have been marked as age restricted or hateful or dangerous content, and it's just rally footage. Like there's nothing to it. So, and I've sat there too as well, on the other end with Google creator support, or YouTube support, and you sit there in the chat and you just hound them with questions. Cause I was like, well, who has, the credentials to decide what medical misinformation is over at YouTube? And I didn't get an answer out of it. They said, we're not at liberty to divulge that information.
That's what he said to me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
At least they're consistent with their script.
Yeah, they sit there on a script for sure. If not, we're just talking to robots anyways. But it leads you to a dead end, because ultimately, I don't know if they did this to you, but they'll say like, we can take this to, we can get back to you through an email. And then I like wrote them and I was
Yeah.
like, no, I've been through this before. You're going to send me the same message through the email. And then you don't have anywhere to go beyond that. And
Right.
so they just sort of ultimately take you to a dead end. And that's their tactic, is like, we'll do whatever. And what I've done is I have taken my grievances with YouTube and I just post them on Twitter as they're happening
Yeah, I
in real
love your
time.
Twitter. Oh my
Thanks.
God. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't really, until Elon got on there, I really didn't post unless I was doing an event and I was just sharing to people like, hey, I'm going to be in this place.
Mhm.
You're invited, that kind of a thing. Right.
Mhm.
Like just free advertisement.
Mhm.
And then Elon takes over and I don't care. I think Elon, he's not saying Elon either. You know what I mean? Like I'm not for him,
Mhm.
but at least it seems more enjoyable. And I feel like
Yeah.
I look forward to it. And then people like you are talking, you're not being censored on that platform and you're
Mhm.
fucking hilarious. And I'm like, seriously,
Yeah.
look, I got you. Look, I got you. It's not just the Bill Gates one, but just, let me say, but like today, I'm like, again, God forbid if I say anything about the trans, okay?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
you're killing it today. I was like, I can't stop. Like all of a sudden, like maybe I'll read one of your tweets every other day when I get on. But
Yeah.
then today I was like, oh my God, he's on fire. I mean, because it's
Yeah.
the unapologetic, when everyone's talking about being real and being yourself, I'm going, this guy's doing it. Oh, you retweeted it. Thank you. Look at that.
Yeah. You got it.
But wait. What's the one? Oh, today. I just love how sweet and simple. And I want to ask you about how did you come up with 5 times August? Don't tell me you're Leo. Are you Leo?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
5 times August like because it's August 5th?
Yeah, that's my birthday. You got it.
I'm a Leo, baby.
All right. When's your birthday?
August 3rd.
Oh, fantastic.
Can you see the
Really
screen?
cool.
I just want to make sure that I shared it.
Yeah,
Hey
I
guys,
see the screen. Yeah.
that's the for the audience. That's the one he's talking about, the Fauci one, which you're
Mhm.
right. I saw today that he was trending, or was it yesterday? You're right. This was
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
Fauci and Gates, they come and go depending on the news of the day or whatever. So, but it's interesting because like a lot of these songs, like the Sad Little Man song, it's over a year and a half now, but still is just as relevant depending on what, until these guys end up in jail or
I
rotting
agree.
or, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have these songs to pull back from, because to go back and reference, and to me, I sort of I describe it as enlisting my music to this time. Is what I did, was I decided to take what I had to offer the world and write about these crazy times, because I was like waiting for other musicians to do it. Early on, you're like looking around going like, where's all the protest singers and all the badass rock and rollers that are supposed to be sticking it to the man? And none of them did. I mean, I was the first whole half of my career was clean cut singer songwriter, you know, played it safe, middle of the road, didn't want to make anybody upset through music. I like music bringing people together,
Yeah.
and had a fan base across the board from all different backgrounds, both sides of the political spectrum. It didn't matter to me. It wasn't until I started releasing these songs that you really quickly learn who your friends are, and you start getting ousted from this group or that group, and then all of a sudden you get all these labels thrown on you, as we all know. And so every time that happened from one song to the next, I would just keep leaning into it, because it was like, well, then screw it. I'll tell you exactly how I feel, and I won't sugarcoat it anymore. So the deeper, it goes, until like Gates Behind the Bars kind of is one of the more latest songs that I have put out. And it was sort of like I really wanted to lay it into him. So when you watch that video too, like it's footage of people collapsing, and it links him to Epstein and all this stuff. There's so many different little Easter eggs in there that you could watch it, numerous times and pick up on different things. But um, at this
Yeah.
point, it's like, what difference does it make? And it really shows you the difference between YouTube and Twitter. I'm not the biggest fan of Elon, but I do appreciate and celebrate the freedom that we have at the moment. And
Yeah.
so, that video on Twitter has had over 1 million views versus YouTube, which is, shadow banned it and,
Oh,
and suppressed it. I don't even know, maybe a couple 100,000, but the reach of it is always, is always prevented and
that video would
stopped.
have gone viral. That video
Yeah,
would have gone
it's a
viral.
shame, because it's, it's art, you know. That's sort of what my issue is, and is that now they're suppressing art. You know, if you're one of the few artists that is, if you are one of the few artists that is speaking out right now, they're going to interpret your art for you and then decide if the public can consume it. You know, that's a really dangerous thing. We went through that with doctors and scientists and who says what, and that one's a quack and stuff. But now it's invaded in it's permeated art and culture
Mhm.
in that sense, that if you write a song, well, they're going to tell you, like Sad Little Man, that's medical misinformation, even though the song itself, if you listened to it without watching the video, it could be applied to any sad little man that you want it to be applied to, right?
Yes.
So it's interesting to have tested those limits during these times, but at this point, you know, you just keep going with it, because we don't have any other option. It's like, you know, full steam ahead with freedom of speech.
I like, I don't think it's easy to come up with the lyrics and stuff like, but first of all, did you edit? I forget now. I forget, like, you know how people give credits at the end? Did you
Mhm.
edit the video yourself? Like, you wrote it,
Yeah, mhm,
filmed
yeah,
it?
all the videos are done myself as well, so they're sort of an extension of what I wanna say. I don't think I coulda hired anybody to do video like Sad Little Man or Gates Behind the Bars, because it's so, you know, I kinda start it with a vague idea and start piecing it together like a collage and build it out as I'm listening to the song. I don't have, like, a storyboard, and I don't think I coulda described that to somebody. Said, I want him to be a snake oil salesman and travel through different towns," and like I had no idea what I was making when I started it, but it's a fun exercise and it's a nice way to extend what I want to say, for sure. But it's just crazy that, like, you know, my I don't even think that my songs themselves are really controversial. If you listen to the lyrics,
No.
you know, they might be anti-mainstream narrative, but they're not controversial. And so, you know, that's something that I did talk with Tim Pool about on his show, was just like, the songs that I've put out aren't even controversial, like I just said. But like, if you listen to plenty of other songs out there, it's way worse content, and it's fully monetized. There's music videos on YouTube that, you know, have nudity or people getting shot or there's blood, and it's fully monetized, hundreds of millions of views.
What ass pussy?
Exactly. 100%. You know, hundreds and hundreds of millions of views. Any child can watch that video
Yep.
and watch it. But my video of, I don't know, my song Fight for You, which is just the music video is just rally footage of parents walking with their kids holding signs that say freedom. You know, that's been demonetized and marked as harmful information just because of what's on the signs, you know, whether it says
Freedom.
freedom or children are not science experiments. It's like, oh, you can't say that. Why not? Why can't I say that? So yeah, it's ridiculous.
Because
And
they wanna take the children from the parents. That's
yeah,
not,
I
I
mean,
mean, that's a
right.
fact. I used to be a teacher, and that's why I quit
Mhm.
teaching years ago, and that was
Wow.
in the '90s,
Yeah.
and it was a fact. It's I mean, part of it, my mother, because I grew up in Spain, and she was a Catholic. Not that she went to church every Sunday, but growing up, she did, right? She grew up in the Spanish Civil War, um, to add to that, but, I remember my mom kept saying when I would argue with her, especially when I was a teenager, when I'm like, "You're wrong. This is not, if the rule's this, why doesn't it apply to me? Just shut up and do it, Olga." And I'm like, "Mm." And so she would say, "No, it's in the prophecy, it's in the Bible that one day the children will go against the parents."
Mhm.
And so my mom kept saying that. In a way, it's like the Catholic guilt thing, but in other ways, I noticed that she kept pointing it out over and over again. This is in the '80s, '90s. She's like, "I'm telling you, even if you don't like your parents, but the state wants you, and they're
Mhm.
going, and it's going that way, because the more
Yeah.
the kids want their rights, you know what I mean, and they want to be heard."
Mhm.
And she's
Yeah.
like, "The 10 Commandments, love thy mother and thy father." And I was stuck. My parents threw me in a convent for 7 years when I was 10 years old. Because I was rambunctious. I was,
Mhm.
I questioned everything. My parents had restaurants. They were entrepreneurs. I'm one of 6. I'm the 4th of 6. So they just figured, you know what? We can't keep our eye on her 24/7, and she's argumentative. Maybe we'll put her in there and she'll become a better person. At the very least, become more feminine, because I was a tomboy. So they
Mhm.
they they had good intentions. But
Mhm.
of course I didn't like it. But it was the fact that I understood where they were coming from, and I could feel it just instinctually. And then
Yeah.
I became a teacher. I was actually going to go to, I was an entertainer. I was always like singing, acting, writing my own scripts and doing my own plays. But my parents were like, no, you got to get a real job. You know, that old school thing. Or run our restaurants, join the family business.
Yeah.
And so I became a teacher thinking, well, I don't want to be in the family business and I want to be taken serious. And I don't want them to worry that I'm going to like be a waitress for the rest of my life trying to get a gig. But it wasn't that I wanted to be an actress. I just didn't want the traditional life at the time. I was young. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to express myself most of all. But anyway, they put all this fear in me, and you're a girl and things happen to women. So there's all these layers. So I know I'm jumping around, but the point of the kids and the separation of state, when I was a teacher, the parents, I get it because I come from a background also in Spain where the teachers were allowed to hit the kids and the parents would tell the teachers, hit them, do whatever you got to do. So I come from that extreme to then meeting Americans over abroad. And then they're like, that's abuse in the US. Right. And I met people from Switzerland and they were like, that's abuse. And I'm like, well, that's a norm here. And of course it worked for me when I was like, you're abusing me, because it was abuse. They beat me every day. Bruises, you name it. It wasn't just like a slap or a spanking. Like we're talking severe shit. But my point is, I remembered that in the back of my head about the state and the children being against the parents. And I'm thinking, unless the parents are really like evil, you know what I mean? Like satanic, at some point you're just going to have to bear it and then get out when you're 18, and then choose on your own. But that's the whole thing about the state, that when I was a teacher and the kids loved me, and I'm not saying this like I was the greatest. No, I was very affectionate with them because the abuse that I had. I believed in the opposite. Give them love, give them just unbelievable love. Doesn't mean they can walk all over me. I was very strict and they respected me for it because the love was there. You know what I mean? I didn't say shit like, do it because I told you so, like the old school parents. But here's the thing. I started crying. I would come home crying every night for the last year or two when I was teaching in the 90s, because everything I was doing with the kids, they'd go home the next day. I'm like, so what'd you do last night? What'd you eat for dinner? Hot dog, video game, pizza, hot dog, video game. And I'm going, and the parents were doctors, lawyers, nurses, professionals. And I'm going, it was a private school. Anyway, so when I would tell the parents, because they're like, I don't know how you get my kid to eat this and that, or how do you get him to do this and that? And I'm like, you give them attention. Like you give them love. They're looking for guidance 24/7. They're looking for structure. I mean, it's not like something that we just invented, but then the more I saw Spain was doing it too, the more the students had a right. And now look at these kind of videos that are coming out with kids just no respect for the teacher. Don't get me wrong. Some of these teachers, I don't even know how they're teachers. I'm like, how did we go to that extreme? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I would be so protective of my kids. Don't tell my kid what to do. Like, don't indoctrinate my kids. Do your job. Are you supposed to teach them math, reading, writing, or whatever it is? And they're supposed to have, some social experience in school versus being homeschooled. I mean, there's supposed to be positives to a school environment for children as far as their development. Anyway, so you can see what you said about that, about the kids and the state taking over. Period. In the story.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been a long time coming, especially when you incorporate TV and video games and
cell
technology.
phones.
Yeah, it sort of has taken place of the parent, right? Like when you go back and watch something like Leave It to Beaver and you see what the family unit and how it was presented then versus by the time you get to the 80s or 90s where you have TV shows like Married with Children, where it's a dysfunctional family that's being sold on the minds of the viewers, right? And all of a sudden, like the narrative flipped in between that time on TV from having respect of your parents and, being raised responsibly, good morals throughout, every episode had a sort of a good moral with Leave It to Beaver or something. Then you get to Married with Children and parents are all of a sudden the enemy or whatever it is, like a lot of that happened in the 80s and 90s where the power structure shifted. It was about the kids and like Saved by the Bell. It was like the kids versus the adults, right? And that's the period that I grew up in as an 80s, 90s kid. You grew up in this idea that teachers were the bad guys, parents were the bad guys. They're telling you what to do. And that has only accelerated and gone even further up until this point. So it's no wonder that, we've let screens raise kids for a really long time. And it's the more involved in screens that we get, whether it's through TV or the movie screen, or now it's everybody has one of these now. So it's become more and more intrusive into the family unit. Like you have to be very conscious of it, because when we take long driving trips nowadays, we don't give our kids any entertainment on a screen.
I was going to ask you have 2 kids?
We have 3 kids.
3 kids. Oh, wow.
And so, you go out now and you see parents and they give their children a screen at the restaurant just to keep them quiet, but that's creating a boundary and a wall and stuff. So, but I think that all that stuff, long story short, to say that it's intentional, and what you're saying, it's there to pull kids away from their parents. And now what are they seeing? They're seeing guys like Jeffrey Marsh, this trans guy who's like looking, he's speaking to them through this screen, and he's
talking
saying,
about that creep?
The
creepy guy that's been with Mulvaney?
Right. Yeah. And he's looking in the screen. He's telling children, look, if your parents don't understand you, I'll be your parent. And he's like pulling them over, and it's just disgusting and creepy. And that is who's raising them, right? The more that we are letting our kids go off and do their own thing, back in the 80s, 90s, we did have TV, but you still let your kids go out and play. You didn't know where they were until the sun came down. That was sort of the normal thing. They were out playing. They weren't sharing what they saw on TikTok with each other. Now, if you let your kids out of sight, they're in another group of kids with phones, and they're just showing each other stuff. They're not out playing in the dirt or traveling, whatever it was, that traveling across
they're not
town.
being creative.
Right.
They're not even
using their imagination. They're sort of feeding each other information that they've seen. So yeah, it's crazy that we're here. And it's even sadder that, stuff like that guy, like that Jeffrey Marsh guy, he's not, he's being encouraged and enabled by platforms like YouTube or TikTok. What he's doing is okay to them,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, when I'm saying children, or when I'm saying parents, fight for your kids and their future, when I'm saying stand up for freedom of speech, when I'm saying, whatever it is that I'm promoting, which is really just patriotism, freedom of speech, anti-establishment. I mean, that used to be cool back in the day to say those things.
I know.
Now it's frowned upon. You're not allowed to be anti-establishment, and so it's pretty disappointing. But
but that right there, what you just said, which we all have been doing it, which is we're not allowed. Kind of like what I said earlier about the words that But my whole thing is, how they say join them to beat them. That's what I'm doing. It's not like they're winning because I won't say these words. No, I'm just going, bitch, I'm going to win at this. Like, you're not going to shut me down. And that they gave me 2 strikes within a week apart. And the first strike, 1 week off. And then the second strike, it was literally the day I came back. And then they gave me like, they really were trying to delete me. And I'm going to beat you bitches. And look, I waited 90 days, both those strikes.
Yeah.
Because now I'm kind of in the clear. I've also threatened them. I've not threatened them, but I gave them a promise. Let me put it that way. I said, I have an attorney and I don't have a big channel and I don't have the influence that other people that have the influence. I'm pissed that they're not using it. And that's the other reason why I started this channel. I basically gave up my entire career right now for this channel, knowing they can delete me, knowing that all my work will be in vain and zero. But I feel like it's for my soul. It's what I believe in my heart, that I don't give a shit. I've had it all and lost it all over and over and over again. I'm a little older now. I'm not really in the mood to be struggling, but I can't help it. I can't help when we're saying things like, because now we can't. No, we can. We can. In fact, do you mind if I segue and share this one of your tweets from today? Oh my God. I don't know why. I thought I've been reading your tweets, but today I thought you were on fire. Maybe it's just me. Guys, check this out. Hold on.
What did I say this time? Oh,
yeah. Well, I don't think that was the first one. I think the first one I read this morning was something with trans, and then you followed up with this. See, at 9:20, I get up at the crack of dawn. Like I was up at 6. So
Mhm.
maybe I was reading your text from last night, I guess, unless you're up.
And this one was this morning, yeah.
Yeah, this was. I don't know if you guys can read this, but I'm gonna read this. Check this out. This is 5 times August Twitter, guys. You got to follow him. Make sure you let him know that I was there, that I brought you there. Like tag him, give him some love, share the content. Anyway,
Mhm.
since we're allowed to redefine words, now I don't know if you know this, but I was also an interpreter and translator, and I still subcontract for that. So words are very important to me.
Mhm.
It's not just because English is my third language. I'm big into words. Anyway,
Mhm.
since we're allowed to redefine words and blanket label people these days, I'd like to announce the word. It's my favorite word. I'm going to be cute because I'm thinking maybe the bot won't pick this up because remember, we're on YouTube, right?
Mhm.
So I'd like to announce the word pedophile.
I don't want to get you another strike through my tweets.
No, fuck it. This is so good. I can't bastardize it. Has officially been updated to include any man who dresses up as a woman and dances for children. I just love every intention you put in these words, okay? Any adult that takes a child to such a performance and anyone who defends and protects such events, you are not drag queens. You are not parents. You are not an ally, end quote. You are child molesters, and I will be addressed and will be addressed as such. Did you mean to say that them's the breaks?
Them's the breaks.
Okay, okay. If you don't like it, stop encouraging it. Boom!
Yeah.
Thumbs
Yeah.
up. But it wasn't, what was the other one? It was something with the trans too.
I don't even know. I mean, it's just to me, it's an extension of just kind of, if I'm not going to sit down and write a song about it, maybe I can write a little tweet about it.
Yeah.
And, or a lot of these things sort of build up over time and eventually the message ends up in a song. But, things like that. I mean, I just feel like they need to be said. If I have a platform to say, I know that most people think this, it's not the only
That's
reason.
the other one. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh,
That's it.
okay. Oh,
That's the
this
other
guy.
one.
Yeah, this guy sent me a message.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you want me to share it, but anyway, at least
No, I don't care. I
I gave
mean,
a
like,
sneak peek.
yeah, no,
So good.
I got an email from some detractor that,
I just feel like you have courage. You have cojones. You have balls. And I don't mean that because you're a man. I don't care. Call it, for me, ovaries. But like you have grit. You have a soul. You have, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm ass kissing that I'm like this crazy fan of yours. I deeply respect you. And I do like your work. And in fact, like you said, if you don't watch the video, like both Gates Behind Bars and the Sad Man, I like the tune. I like your voice. Like I'm telling you the truth. And my audience knows when I react, I tell the truth. And I really don't have a filter. I'm using filters for YouTube. But I really don't have filters.
Right.
And I appreciate.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Well,
keep
thank
interrupting
you.
you. Oh my God.
No, it's okay.
Look, I even wrote a list of like, what questions am I going to ask Brad? So I was thinking of maybe doing a reaction video to one of your videos.
Okay.
But then I'm concerned. They're going to take it down.
Yeah, you'll get another strike.
Get another strike.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh, this is not that important, but I am curious. How was your experience on Timcast IRL?
It's good. I've been on his show 2 times.
Oh, really?
I was on his show on the main Timcast thing. He has a new show now called Culture War. And it's a 2-hour sit down. You just hang out and chat for 2 hours. It's a little different of a formula.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that one and the other one where you were on the main table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I didn't really know what to expect. It's really cold in that room. So, because they have like a bunch of gear, so they keep it cold so the computers don't heat up and stuff. And I didn't expect, so I was kind of distracted, honestly, the first time I was on because I was just so cold. But the second time going in, I was like, that room's cold. I'm wearing a jacket. So I was a little more comfortable. But I mean, other than that, no, it's fine. It's nice. It was nice to be there. And he's got a nice crew of guys over there and pretty casual and laid back.
I like the chickens.
Yeah. So like it's a neat little place to go visit and do. It's like in a house and he's got 2 houses there and stuff. So the cool part is they send you to they put you up in I can't remember what hotel it is, but it's like a Holiday Inn or something. It's like the closest one to them, but it's
Marriott.
kind of it's like a hotel, like one of the cheaper hotels, but it's cute because it's attached to a 50s diner, and you have to go into the diner to check into your room.
Oh,
And so that when you get there, you're like, what is this? And then you end up like kind of getting to know the people that work at the diner, because you go in and out, and it's the only place to eat. And it's kind of fun in that way. The first time I went, I was like, what? This is kind of weird. They didn't want to, be somewhere else, but you realize like it just is the closest thing in proximity, and it's kind of a cool little joint. And then they're open 24 hours a day. So you can go and get yourself a burger at 2 in the morning or something like that. But it's a fun experience for sure. I hope to go back
yeah, it
sometime
looks
soon.
fun. I mean, obviously he's got a lot of guests and he books them.
Yeah, they're churning them, and they pick you up from the airport and they take you down, and he's got 2 drivers now, and um nice guys, and they've got their operation. So it's interesting because you feel like you're the only person there that's going to be on the show, but you realize in the next 12 hours they've got somebody else, and they're doing the next show, and he's just boom boom boom. So I admire the work pace that he's at. It takes a lot of work to run that kind of thing.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I'm impressed also with all the cameras. I discovered him like I discovered most people on YouTube during 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And am I being a psychic? Because I am, by the way. If you don't know, I know this sounds kooky, but it's true. And wait, I'm going, did you say it here today? Or did I read it somewhere that did you just say it today that 2020, that's when you started, like you were speaking up, like that's when you started
Yeah.
making these videos?
Yeah, like throughout 2020, I didn't start releasing these songs till early 2021, but throughout 2020 was like a really turning point for me mentally, and just observing the world, and as an artist going like, I feel like I needed to say something. I didn't release any music for about 8 months throughout 2020, because I didn't know what to say. And then on the other side of that long break was this batch of songs where I started sort of speaking out more.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I didn't even know Timcast existed until 2020.
Yeah.
And then
I
I
think
started. Go ahead.
right. Yeah, I think that's the silver lining of, this weird dark time, is that a lot of truth seekers and you sort of found each other and found different avenues to sort of keep the battle going. And like, we're all sort of awake now to so many things that never
Mm,
would have happened otherwise. And yeah, a lot of us have lost friends, but we've gained this whole new friendship with people that we really know now. Like, we're in a we sort of get each other, right? We know
yeah.
what we're going through and what we're fighting for. And the beautiful thing about that is, like, if you go to a rally or um a protest or whatever it is, like I went and did the defeat the mandates rallies in DC and LA last year. These events are so full of so many different people from so many different walks of life, that this is really where the unity actually is. And everybody, no matter who you are in either the medical freedom movement or just truth movement in general, you're sort of labeled by the left as extreme MAGA, whatever they want to paint you as. Everybody's lumped into it, but it's not
Yep.
that at all. And
I
like,
know.
yeah, it's just crazy. It's just funny because it's a beautiful thing. What's happened is, with this movement and the unity that's behind it, it's just painted so ugly by people who are in fact the ugly people of the world right now. And that's the game
Yeah.
that we're in. That's what we're fighting up against. But
Well
like,
said.
I went to Austria in December for a series of dates with some of the doctors that have been speaking out, and I performed at them. And I'm meeting these people um, who just want the truth about COVID. They've been fighting for it. They had like secret locations that they would meet up during the lockdown periods in their cities and stuff. And you hear these stories, and it sounds like World War II stories, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
only a year ago. But these people are not Trump-loving Republican people. These are just people who didn't agree with what was happening. But
Exactly.
our culture, at least American culture, and you see it with Canada too, when they had their big protests, but like they're painted as racists and, troublemaking conspiracy theorists and stuff. And only right wing. You're only on the, and it's like, it's not really that.
Exactly.
We have the extreme left who really is extreme. And then there's just about everybody else. And I'm not saying there's no extreme right. There is.
Yeah, of course there is.
But the extreme left is number one, they're really loud. They have all the megaphone for the media, the megaphone for, what messages get pushed out there. And that's why it seems like it's a bigger battle than it is. But I think that I think that the silent majority just is still waking up, and it's this long, arduous, wake up call, because to get people up and out. And, you see it in other countries, like the protests of, hundreds of thousands of people taking the streets. America's dead last in that sort of battlefront. We don't really take to the streets like we should. But it's going to get to that point. There's a snowball building here, and once it really gets big enough and enough truth has permeated through thick skulls, it's going to take over, and people are going to be really, really pissed that they've been, they have to accept that they've been bamboozled. So it'll be interesting when we get there.
Very well said. Real quick, what's your background as far as are you Greek?
Skistimus is Lithuanian.
Oh, Lithuanian.
Yeah. Half Polish, a quarter Lithuanian.
Polish is going to be my next one.
And Swedish. Yeah, that's my background.
Oh, wow. And you're living in Dallas. Did you grow up in Dallas, Texas?
Yes.
Born and raised?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Real Texan here.
Real Texan. I used to think that I wanted to move to, as a musician, or especially early on, you think I'm going to move to California or New York or somewhere where there's industry. And I'm so glad I never moved. I mean, I've toured the country there and back again so many times, but yeah, Texas is it's definitely my pace of living. And I'm so glad I was here the last couple of years, because I couldn't imagine, living on any of the coasts.
I'm in Philly, right?
You're where are you at? Philly?
Philly. And I was the only one walking down the street. No mask. And people, it's funny, couples would walk by, especially of the elders, and not like they're like real old, like maybe 60s, right? And I'd be walking to the store, and they'd go,
yeah.
And I'm like, God bless you.
Yeah.
And I could see they're looking at me, and they would get mad, and they would be like, it wasn't just a contagion. It was the lack of obedience. Like, dude, I was stuck in a convent. I didn't obey these people. Okay. I'm not obeying anybody but God. Like, that's it. Yeah. And so I would say, God bless you, because I want to just give it back, like almost like blocking with positivity. Right. But like a real positivity, like a heartfelt God bless you, not like a smart ass. Although I sound right. Smart ass, but I'm like, God bless you. Have a great day. Yeah. What I've noticed, it was like throwing holy water on vampires, if that's even a thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the more happy and confident and no fear, the more fearless I was, the more people were like, and I'm going like, but I predicted this 20 years ago. I said to my friends, guys, do you realize I worked for NBC for a little bit too? That's another story. But I noticed when I was a waitress, not just in my parents' restaurant, when I came to the US and I was going to college, and I noticed every year people were worse. Or I used to love people, and I went from loving people to hating people. That was back then. I love people again now. But once you're in the service industry, I'm just like, just awful people. Like, you're not tipping me. You run me around. And I would go as crudely to say, like, I could give a BJ for like $20 in 5 minutes. I just fucking sat there for 3 hours with this table of 10. They're running me down, insulting me, and I'm still smiling. I'm still positive. And then they give me a shitty tip. And I'm like, when you kept getting that over and over again, and I'd be like the number one waitress. I'd be the waitress of the month, the manager, the preferred manager of all the companies, blah, blah, blah. Like, it didn't matter. Yeah. It was like all the shit the shittiest people would come to me. The shit, it was like, the whole light and moth thing. Not to make myself sound great. I'm just saying, when you're a good person, I think, and when you're sweet and giving and you're a people pleaser, like, that tends to happen. So then I flipped that coin over, and I was like, all right, what I realized is that most people were mentally not well. And this is
Mhm.
before 20 years ago when people started taking Adderall like they take it now. Like, oh, I'm going to take a little Adderall before I go out tonight so I can, because I'm
Mhm.
like tired from being at work. Like it became a normal
Mhm.
social thing to do. And I'm going, oh my God, we are so fucked. We are so fucked because if I saw people deranged all those years and
Yeah.
then it got worse, and I'm going, people think people are normal. All it takes is one little thing like 2020, and you're
Yeah.
going to see the cray craze the way you didn't see them before because maybe you were in your bubble. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
think, go ahead.
No, 100%. I mean, that's what sort of fell apart for me throughout 2020 was up until that point, I had this sort of naive outlook on humanity that there was at least for all of our differences, a baseline understanding of rules of engagement or
Yeah.
how to work with one another that or that just the basic idea of this was really where it fell apart was the idea that you don't believe what you see on TV and what your government says, right? We all grew up knowing that you just don't trust it. And then all of a sudden it just fell away. And I'm sitting there going, really?
Right.
Really? You like, we're going along with this? Like, oh, you like somebody in my life who I thought was really smart is going along, like all these different little people that
Yes.
you looked up to them or they were dear friends who now
Yes.
turned on you like a dime.
Yes.
And so that fell apart throughout 2020, but it's also why I say there's a great silver lining in what has happened since then, because I have found those people again through this movement. I'm like, oh, here you are. These are the people that I thought everybody was, prior to 2020. They weren't everywhere. They were just a select group of people,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was is completely disappointing to sort of recognize that to realize people are so easily swayed and controlled and dictated and it but it does put us on guard. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not swayed by certain things or another, but I'm very attuned to if it's happening or not, and I
Yeah.
question it and I go down these little rabbit holes and I say, am what I'm seeing like just anything you see online, anything you see through a screen, I have to question it now. If I'm not, even because we're living in the AI age now. We're living in, uh, CGI in every single movie. So
Yep.
you have to question what you're seeing. And this idea that you can't question it is very telling for the entire um, narrative of control. Don't tell me it's not about control. If you don't want me asking questions, it's about control.
Yeah.
There you
That
go.
was a mic drop, Jesus. That was so good. Yes, yes. But yeah, but I love your delivery because you make it sensical. Like you make it like, right? Like this is
Mhm.
a no-brainer. You're not being forceful. Like I obviously, as we can tell, I have a big mouth and I
No,
sound more forceful than I am. You know what I'm saying? I just
yeah, but like to me, it's just common sense, which wasn't so. You find out it's not as common as you would think. But to me, these things, uh, you know, I don't know. I still wait to have a conversation, a real good, deep conversation outside of Twitter with somebody who really opposes everything that, I'm saying. Because when you get them in those conversations, it really reveals so much about themselves as well. Like that email, if you want to pull up that tweet, that email that guy sent me, like read that
yeah,
email
yeah.
and
See, I knew that was a good one. Hold on one
tell me
second.
that guy tell me that message is normal. Tell me that message is sane and rational, right?
Right, right. Let me
Who
see.
who does this? Don't tell me this is the right side of history.
Do you want me to read what he said first and
Yeah,
then what you
read what
responded?
read what he wrote first.
Yeah, yeah. So was it Mike Lunsford? He emailed you this?
This was an email that I
Okay.
got.
Brad, what else terrifies you besides the realities of gender? Question mark. Sorry. Shadows, question mark. Storms, question mark. Spiders, question mark. Your wife's that I remember reading this and I'm like, why do you have to
Mhm. He just goes
your
there. That's
wife's
what's on his
dry,
mind.
flappy mutt vagina that you no longer service because it's like rubbing your dick with sandpaper and smells like the rotting corpse of a raccoon? Question mark. You are such a weakling, such a pussy. This bonfire you are helping to fuel one day will consume you. God bless, kid. And I go,
God bless.
yeah, but he's so removed. He,
Mhm.
she, I don't give a fuck, right? Then I'm
Yeah.
going, do you realize that everybody in the world knows you're projecting? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, dude, you just described your life.
Yeah.
Not, you get what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows that.
100%.
I'm like, what are you doing, people? Like, are you
Yeah.
really that desperate that you got to tell Brad how fucked up you are?
Yeah. I mean, to take the time, he had to go to my website to find my email and then sit there and write that and think,
Horrible.
"Well, what am I going to say? You know? Yeah.
Do you want to
And
read
so,
what you responded?
sure. I said, "Greetings, Mike. Thanks for the lovely email. You seem like a totally sane, rational, and definitely not unhinged individual. In answer to your question, nothing terrifies me about the realities of gender because, well, the reality is there are only two, male and female. Pretty simple and basic stuff. I'm sorry you don't agree. What's actually terrifying are creepy ass individuals like yourself who think it's completely acceptable to convince children they should question who they are to the point of irreversibly mutilating their body before they're old enough to understand what they are doing to themselves. It's pretty disgusting and sick, Mike, and the fact you appear to have no issue with it is beyond troubling. The rest of your message reveals much of your mental illness and confirms my suspicions of what kind of people are behind this gross and evil agenda. So thanks for hammering that home for me. Anyway, seek help, buddy. Take care."
It was so good. But it's not even because I agree with you. It's not about that. And I'm with you because I've also invited people that are completely opposite than me. And I want to have this conversation. Like, can you please, let's just, without attacking each other, you know, I've been a life strategist for over 20 years. I can talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't like to argue, but, you know, put your point across. I just was on a conversation with you. Well, let me shut up. Because I can disagree, but I'll lay it to you nicely. You know, I'll be like, look, you might think this way, I think that way, but that's, you know, you do you. And if I'm right and I'm wrong, we'll laugh about it later. You know what I mean? And if you're wrong, we'll laugh about it. Like, it's all good. Like, we're not enemies here, but it's the way you wrote this, that it's not about them versus us. To me, there's male and female. It's just that simple, my friends. And why, if you don't say this kind of stuff, right? It's like you were saying earlier, how they have more attention because they have the bigger, or what do you call it? That microphone?
Oh, the megaphone.
The megaphone.
Yeah.
So if everyone just said that every day, oh yeah, I'm just stating some facts, but have a nice day. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody was out there instead of, well, that's wrong. And why don't we just say you're mentally ill, but without saying it? That's what I like about the way you said it. It's like, okay, there's male and female. Okay. I'm gonna keep saying it because that's the truth, and the truth will sink. And it takes everyone to agree, like the whole George Orwell 1984, for it to become a reality.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it to me, it's like, we can't, I'm not entertaining it because it's skewing reality into something that is just, so I'm going to read you this Rolling Stone headline that was put out. I tweeted this. I don't know if you can find it quick enough.
Yes, I can. Well, let me see.
It was an article about that Jeffrey Marsh guy, and he's got a new book out, and the title of it, the headline of it, it's really far. It might be pretty far back. You have to scroll down.
Tell me when to stop. Right here, this one.
No, not that one.
It said Rolling Stone.
Yeah. I've been kind of going into Rolling Stone the last couple of days because their headlines, their writers are using these characters. I'm going to use the word characters. They're using their preferred pronouns, and you can see how it interferes with our basic communication skills when you use it. It should be coming up here a little further down. I should do a show that's just called "Let's Go Through My Twitter Feed."
I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you.
Here's what I said today on Twitter.
Go ahead.
No, but okay. So right here.
This one.
So Yeah. So look, let's read this
That's why you
article.
were talking about his little
Yeah.
Jeffrey, whatever his name is. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So it says the far right wants this LGBTQ TikToker dead. They say that's only making them stronger. So the writer of this article is saying they and them in
Right.
reference to Jeffrey Marsh because that's his preferred pronouns. But it sounds like to a normal rational human being that can read that the far right is getting stronger because they want him dead. Like in these are people writing the words we're supposed to be reading through the media.
Exactly.
This is like kindergarten mistakes that are now acceptable in major publications. And it just goes to show you, like, that's why you can't entertain it, because that doesn't make any sense. That headline doesn't make any sense, and that other one above that I shared this morning about that other artist.
Which
She
one?
she goes. It was way up there. It's more recent, but she goes by she, her, and they, them, and something else. And so if you follow that Rolling Stone thread, it describes her as she and her, and then the next post will say they, them.
This
It's
one?
but no,
Yeah,
I
this is
don't
the
know.
Target one.
It's yeah, a little further down, I think. Yeah, this girl here, Janelle Mona, who Monet, I don't even know who this is. I don't follow pop culture
She
enough
was
to
a
know.
singer.
Yeah, I looked into her a little bit when this popped up, but so it says who says her pronouns are she, her, and they, them, and free ass mother effer. So but the article tries to appease her preferred pronouns by writing a little bit here saying she and her, and then switches randomly to they, them. So the communication through the article itself just becomes a mess
Yes.
through their own, trying to do this thing. And then somebody commented, and they were like, well, she prefers all of these pronouns. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. And then the the detractor on Twitter wrote and said, well, you're just being transphobic. And I'm like, it's not. Now you're implying that she's a trans person. You can't even follow your own rules of engagement here because you're just spouting things out. Oh, you don't like that you're a transphobe. Well, that person's not even a trans person. So I can't be transphobe. And transphobia, I don't believe even exists. It's just a word that you're using
I
to,
agree.
it's a boogie word. Ooh, you're a transphobe. So, it's just skewing with language. And we're getting so far away from reality now that it's like we have to rein it in.
That's what I mean. Thank
I never
you.
had a problem with somebody being gay
Me
or
either.
whatever. Nobody cared. Nobody thought about it. We all made it this far gradually, just, making it through civil rights, and then um, uh, uh, LGB rights and whatever. We were kind of organically going along and in the name of progress, right?
Yeah.
But now we're reaching this point where in 3 years they've crammed in
Yeah.
drag queen story hours in the name of
Oh,
progress. And it's not just LGB, it's also, the trans and 2+ and these new things you've never heard of. And my question is, when do we stop? Where are we progressing to? Where do you draw the line? Because it's only going to keep getting weirder and stranger.
but see, to them, it's like, well, here's an argument that I've had with them because I do have a lot of gay friends. I always have, and I've gone to many drag shows. I have friends that dress up as drag queens. They're not necessarily trans, but I have friends that are trans too. I actually do. I remember I used to party with this girl that I was pretty sure she was trans, but she didn't want to say she was. She wanted to be treated as a woman, and she was kind of like Blair White, where she pretty much looked like a woman, sounded like a woman, although she had a deeper voice. So I was like, this kind of girl's kind of weird. But then again, I was a tomboy, right? But I didn't question it. And we
Mhm.
partied, and we had a great time together for as long as it lasted. But I just remember okay, I'm not gonna get graphic. Let me stop. I'm sorry, because all the memories that are coming up about us partying and hooking up with some dudes, and then I'm like, oh, did you sleep with them? You know what I mean? Did you? So I'm gonna be quiet because that's when the first time I realized, I guess she maybe is trans because she said they did it
There you
in the
go.
back. You know what I mean? And I'm going, I'm only being prude because we're on YouTube and for you, because you're my guest. But I would, if you were talking to me right now
It's
in my
okay.
backyard or something, like,
Yeah.
I would tell you straight out, like,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like, well, maybe she is. And she was like,
Yeah.
I don't know why he wanted to go there, but I was like, okay. I'm like, bullshit. Like, but I figured she didn't want to be known and she wanted to feel like she was a girl.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like shoved down my throat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the idea is the attack on the children. That's where
Yes,
it's
exactly.
crossed into the.
By the way, she owns a salon. And I will call her she because she's she made me feel like I can call her a she. You know what I mean? Like the other day I was at a store and it was a trans person, male, who I said, when somebody else came to help me, I said, he was helping me. And it was a trans man. And dude, I was just being natural. I wasn't doing it to be bad or mean or anything. And I remember I saw the look on his face where he was just like, but you got to get used to it, bro.
Ma'am.
But you know what I mean? Like, you got to get used to it. It's like when people look at me and they think I'm not Spanish because I don't have an accent, or I don't sound, I don't sound like, was it Modern Family? What's her name? Vergara.
Oh.
It's like, I can't be Spanish because you're blonde and you sound American. It's like, all right, dude. So a lot of, or just being a blonde, right? There's a lot of stereotypes I go through all the time. Shit, my voice is deep. Yeah. I always get, sir, can you hold on for a minute? Yes. No problem. Relax. Who cares?
How are you not offended? How are you not demanding your own holiday from something like that?
Thank you for bringing it back, Brad. Thank you for bringing it back.
Well, it's funny because like I get, if you suggest that you disagree with this stuff, they will instantly turn it around on you and stereotype you, or use their own language as a cut down against you. I had somebody this morning, a detractor on Twitter, was saying maybe it was last night, I can't remember, but it was about the trans surgery from turning your penis into a vagina. If you've seen that video that's going around of the surgery, and it's all the cut and snip anyway. Horrible. And so I was like, well, you're still a guy. Good luck with that, dude. And then he came back, and this was like a trans dude in a dress in his profile pic, and then he's like, okay, girl. And I'm like, you just misgendered me based on your own rules and as a cut down. Like, do you not understand how this turns itself back on you when you take your own language and use it as a cut down for somebody else? Like, how does that not compute in your brain? That, I don't know. It's hard to even explain it, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah. My thing is, like I said, my whole life I've been around with gays, trans, you name it. What I was wanting to get at was that, for the most part, they're not into this drag queen storytelling thing. Okay. Not just my age group. Like, I hang out with them that are, millennials, Gen Z. And here's the thing. And I'm speaking as a life strategist. This is not just my opinion. Okay. You know what? Fuck it. My opinion, allegedly. You know what I mean? Just to cover all bases. When you're empty, when you don't have a purpose, when you don't know if you haven't defined the meaning of life, you haven't had maybe some real hardship where it brings you, when they say you have to hit rock bottom to maybe start getting back up or rebuilding or figuring shit out, right? The process of growing as any human being, whether you're female or male, straight, gay, doesn't matter. There's a process, there's a growth, there's an evolution. And what they're doing is that they're like, I identify with this. It's when they say ideology, the word is also, I believe, very overused right now. The ideology, the left. Fuck, again, no more. I can't say things. That word should not be, we should not be saying we can't. Number one, we should not be saying ideologies anymore. Done. Because, CNN, MSN, they've already fucked that shit up. Right. So it's like, it's not about that. It's about you're empty. You're empty. You're lost. Maybe your parents neglected you. Maybe, the school system is like, no kid left behind, for example. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to pass you. You don't have to read. You don't have to write. All these excuses. Oh, we're going to give everybody a prize. Like I told you, I got out of that system when it started with affirmative action and stuff in the late 90s. And I was like, or mid-late 90s. And I'm like, I know where this is going, because that's a fact. That when you tell somebody they did a good job for a shitty job, It's just even like in my parents' restaurant growing up. At 8 years old, I was washing dishes and I had to get on, I had a view that I understand that most people didn't have at my age, which is why my friends were much older than me. Most of my friends they still are. They're very eclectic. Like they're from all different ages, all different countries. And that's because I need that, because some people are more multifaceted than others. Again, and that could be age indicative, right? Maybe when I was going through my 20s, I already had experiences and most people were just getting into them in their 20s. You know what I mean? I was already married and divorced by 21. You know what I mean? So I get all that. So I know that I have a different perspective than the common person. But at the end of the day, what I've been doing, helping people for 20 years, the first thing I have to decide on is, do you love yourself? Number one, if no one knows what that means, and then when you describe and explain it, what self-love means, well, then they have to look at to see, do they even like themselves? You get what I'm saying? So this whole trans ideology, the pronouns, this is all somebody who's very hurt, very lost, and not because we hurt them, not because they got their feelings hurt when they were 8 years old or bullied. This has got nothing to do with that. This is, I don't know who I am. I don't know what life is for. Do you see what I mean? Like I hope and when compassion for these people.
Yeah, well, no, when you tack that on, that sense of confusion on top of a child who already doesn't know who they are, that, again, is where the big issue is that where, it is attacking an entire generation who's going to grow up lost and confused, who thinks, and they're being taken advantage of. That's the real evil part of it, is that you have doctors enabling and doing these surgeries on them that are irreversible. Like, maybe it's cliche to say at this point, but like, you could, growing up, if you got a bad tattoo, that was a big deal. Like having to go back, like everybody sort of, you might regret a tattoo that you got when you were younger, right? This is way worse than a tattoo. You can't laser this off later. And so it to me, it's the children, it's the idea that we're creating that was one thing that I woke up to in this battle. When I started speaking out through the music, it was speaking up for what was true, what we were being
lied
told
about,
not to question.
Lied about, like we were being lied
to.
Right.
We're
not supposed to question.
And
I apologize.
And the vaccine issue and stuff. And then it became, I realized, the attack on kids. And then I realized, oh, this battle is going on to happen. Like, we're in this battle now for the rest of our lives, because these kids that are growing up right now are going to one day be adults and be functioning parts of society, who don't know how to handle problems or critiques. And
well said.
My job as a parent now, I've got 3 kids, is to raise leaders. I don't have any other option. I have to raise independent thinking leaders, because they're going to have to clean up the mess when our generation's gone. For the generation that was in between us, because they're so messed up. They can't communicate with each other. They're on their phones. Even if they do use words verbally one another, it's weird, because the pronouns issue creates weird dynamic in language that's confusing, and just the entire thing. So we have a lost generation. We're going to be spending the rest of our lives sort of cleaning up this mess. But I do believe, and maybe to end on a lighter note, is that on the other side of this is a beautiful time to be alive. I really think that underneath all this froth and this garbage and gobbledygook that is tossed our way every single day, I believe underneath it is the most convenient, luxurious time to be alive. We do have incredible tools. The phone isn't so much a bad thing. It's just how we use it.
Right.
The internet isn't a terrible thing. It's just how we use it.
Right. When it uses you.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So we're in a really beautiful time to be alive. It's just that we're ruining it. It's in fact, we're in such life is so good, right?
I agree.
That these are our problems.
Yep.
Right. These are our problems. These stupid, moronic,
not starvation.
Like when when a conservative stands up and says, I believe a man should have a penis and a woman should have a vagina, and they get applauded for that very basic fact, that's how stupid of a time we're living in. Because yeah, of course, you know, it's like he said the truth, or they said, and the fact that we're having these arguments with each other about that in and of itself is
Yeah.
those are our issues right now. Our grandparents, had to eat, a can of beans for a month because they were in war and they went through all this stuff, and it's just crazy, that these are our issues. They're non-issues, but they've become issues because we have been so spoiled, I think.
I spoiled and conditioned because
Yeah.
the propaganda has been happening since World War II, right?
Mhm.
The father of
Mhm.
propaganda came from there, wasn't it? Freud's nephew, I believe. I forget his name, but yeah. But again, it's not about a history, right? Like, say a lot of people don't know about Freud's nephew and the word and the origin of propaganda itself, the way we know it today. But at the end of the day, yeah, everybody gets up and they're just like, I got to go to work. I got to pay my bills. I got to put food on the
Mhm.
table, and that's it. And most people don't have time to be activists. And
Yeah.
that's why I think the conversation, because words are everything. And
Mhm.
whether you believe in God or not, right? Like, so there's a creator. Okay. Whether you call it God or not, there's a creator. And then we're these beings that we learned how to communicate through creating words and put symbols to the words. So the sounds, right? So you got the sounds, the words, and now we're going back. This is where I'm seeing this, that it's actually right back to basics that's going to get us through it. It
Mhm.
is in the words. It is like, they don't call them spells for no reason.
Mhm.
Like, I'm also an astrologer and I've been a reader, like I was telling you earlier, bit of a psychic here. And I'm trying to be humble and not make it about that. But I'm very aware that words, spells, it's
Mhm.
everything. And so it is
Yeah.
important that we go, no, I'm not going to call you that. I remember
Mhm.
going to a friend's house who's gay, and his roommate is a female, not trans, regular heterosexual girl, live for real. But she wants to be called they, them, because she's like, again, she wants to be inclusive. And she just got her whole uterus taken out because she thinks she's helping the world by not having children. I mean, and this is an educated person. She's a nice person. But he told me, he's like, well, I don't know if you can come over, because if you don't call her they, and I said, I'm a linguist. I'm a translator. Like, you can't even say in Spanish, they, them is ellos. There's no way it can work in most languages. It just doesn't
Mhm.
work. You can't say to somebody he and say ellos, because then what I was doing, I was like, who's they? And he's like, my roommate. I'm like, you understand, because I translate everything in my head, because
Mhm.
English is my third language. I learned it third, that my brain still translates from Italian and Spanish. So for
Mhm.
me, when you say they, I literally hear in my head ellos, which is a
Mhm.
group of people.
Mhm.
There's no way that you can ever make ellos into a non-binary. Do you
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? Like, it can
Right.
never be an individual. It's
Yeah.
impossible to become an individual. You can't say apples for an apple.
Mhm.
Either we have a bag of apples or we have an apple.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These are our problems, right?
yeah.
Like, having to figure out how, like, to communicate on the basic of most basic levels, is absurd that we're even having to have that conversation with
Yeah.
one another. I don't think you can come over unless you refer to them as two people. What? What does that even mean? Like,
You sound
but
so innocent too when you said that. What? You know what I
but
mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, people should know when people are being evil or mean, because
Mhm.
obviously there's people in the so-called right that are mean,
Mhm.
and there are pedos in there too. Are you kidding me?
Mhm. Mhm.
The
Yeah.
grifters, the shills, all
Yeah.
out there pretending to be on. I'm the good guy. No, you're not. You're another one infiltrating, like
Yeah.
everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, you can have a
Yeah.
whole church filled with great people, and there's going to be a creep in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they're going to masquerade like, oh, you can trust me with your kids. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we got to keep our head
100%.
up, man.
You have to. I mean, and that's the thing too with, I'm keeping my head up now on who's going to finally start speaking up now, right? After 3 years, there's going to be a safe zone, right? Where all these celebrities that didn't want to speak up the last 3 years about COVID tyranny are going to slowly start inching their way out, because now there will be, I've said this for the last, I don't know, 2.5 years, but like there will be a pivotal point where it becomes cool to speak up against the man again.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
yeah. That's right.
everybody's going to jump on board with that. And it's going to be so fake and insincere because if you were going to do that, you would have already done it. So now moving forward, anytime anybody says something, it's like Robbie Williams, the singer in the UK, I posted today because he just had an interview where he was saying, um, these are times we're in a post-truth world and you have to question the government and big pharma and you don't know what's real. But he was one who pushed the COVID tyranny. And so you have to question him and his motives now. And I want to know why he's saying that now. And everybody who does speak up now moving forward, whether you're in entertainment or a politician, you need to explain yourself and how you got to that point. Not just that you are speaking out now or saying that you need to question things, but how you got there. It's like Pierce Morgan, he said the worst things about
Yes, he did.
anti-vaxxers and how
Vile.
disgusting. Right. And then one day he flips on a dime and he starts walking back. And I went to Twitter and said, hey, Pierce, when's your formal statement of an apology for saying what you said? And he blocked me after it, and to me that says, okay, then fine. You're not sincere.
That's
and you don't
right.
get to come along to the other side. You're not
That's
a good
right.
guy. You don't sit through abuse. You don't sit through silence. And then one day the person just, sorry is the beginning of that.
That's right.
You don't just move on from it. Somebody doesn't sit there and verbally beat you up and then one day just be like, hey, sorry about that. Like that's the very beginning of how to heal that relationship if you're going to even do that. But
Yes.
yeah, so I'm just very aware of just who's speaking up now, who will speak up now, and when we get to that turning point, we got to keep our head up on both sides of the aisle. Even not even right now we still do for sure. There are for real grifters. I get called a grifter all the time, and it's such a stupid thing because like
How are you lying? That's the thing. You're putting your
yeah,
mouth where your money is, your
right.
songs, your
Yeah, like it's just
excuse me.
funny that I don't know, but you can really see them. Like coming from the entertainment industry, you were dealing with egos and fake people all the time. I know how to pick up on people's vibes and whether they're sincere or not. So, I look for that now moving forward. But yeah, got to keep our head up.
Thank you. Well, not to. Was there anything else would you like to share? I didn't think we would be here this long. Actually, I got to take a break. I always take a break. Everybody knows me. I gotta take my little tinker break, and then I'll come back, guys. But Brad,
Yeah,
I'm getting teary eyed because you don't know me, but I'm very very sensitive. I'm strong but sensitive.
we all are. It's okay.
I'm so grateful. In fact, I was so in it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was enjoyable for you at the very least. And I know that a lot of people have been commenting, but I didn't even know where to start, like to share like what comments. But I saw someone in there out of the corner of my eye were like that they were having like a fan moment. Like what do you call that when you're kind of starstruck? Somebody is a big fan of yours apparently in my audience, and
I don't
that
know.
was
I
real
can see
cute.
the
But I don't know.
comments.
Oh,
Yeah,
can you see the chat too?
yeah. There's quite a few comments here. I don't know.
I know, but one of them was kind of cute. And it was right in the beginning too. They're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody watching, tuning in. I appreciate everybody's support. It's really been, it was really eye-opening. When I started speaking out through the music, I didn't know who would agree with me. All I knew was I was going to piss off a lot of people that already were following me. So the fact that, I've made it into I still have a career in music thanks to anybody who's been listening and supporting the message that I have now. Like I'm
That's
so
awesome.
grateful for them. So I appreciate everybody who's been sharing the music and buying it and putting it out there.
As a matter of fact, guys, I was just gonna do a quick screen share before we head out. And it's because of the vinyl. Because I was telling you, and I think one of my audience members, I know that they're into vinyl. Is this the one? Yeah, Silent War, right? Can you see this?
Yeah, Silent War is the album, and if you go to 5 times August There's some links there for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vinyl and the CD, and some of my older records are on there. But
Well, I'm
yeah,
gonna post all your links in the description below as
awesome.
well. So
Cool. Thank you.
and I'll probably tag you or whatnot because I mean, for most, I think my audience that talks to me or like joins me mostly live, they know I've talked about you many times, and they know I've been bitching about that video. Like I still can't get over it. Like there's just
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy that they would do that. It's so backwards, but I appreciate you keeping on and doing what you're doing. I think everybody has something to offer this movement, whether they've got a microphone at their disposal, or not. There's something you can offer your community, or just getting out there to rallies and speaking up that way, or just raising kids. There's just find out what it is you have to offer this moment in time, because we all need to sort of work together to get through the other side.
well said, Brad. Thank you so much. Many blessings, and I mean, you're welcome to come back anytime. But I know you're a very busy man.
Anytime,
But
just reach out anytime.
yes, I will be in touch, at least on Twitter for now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Have a
thank you
wonderful
so
day.
much.
Much love to you and your loved ones. Hugs for
Thank
your
you.
kids for me.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. See you later.
Bye. See you later. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day.
Bye.
Hey guys. Oh my God. Can you believe how long? Oh man, I hope I didn't torture the poor guy, right? He had no clue. We never spoke before. Totally real, raw, unscripted. First time. What's up, baby? I love him, and talking to him, he was just did not disappoint me at all. It was, his heart comes through. That's awesome. So great to meet people that are like that, creators, artists like him, lovers, fathers, right? Parents, American. Just great, just great. I'm going to take a quick break, but I'll be right back. I haven't decided. I was going to maybe do a reaction video of him, and but I couldn't decide. And then out of the corner of somewhere, somebody mentioned in the comments about Dax. Remember the Tom McDonald song that he did with Dax called Blame It on the Rappers or something? Anyway, but it's not Tom's Friday. And I was just like, maybe I won't do a reaction video, yet I could do a reaction to this other stuff that I found today that is very interesting, or I can hold it for the next live stream. I actually got a lot that guys to tell you about, because remember how I put a voting thing up too for like starting to do the streams instead of Fridays, switching Fridays to Sunday. Then I'm also thinking about doing live streams every day. Like, remember before on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would do coffee with Olga, but then I was like, I couldn't keep them up. Just wasn't working out. But doing the live stream Monday through Thursday and then Sunday every day at 12:30 ET instead of just 3 days a week. Anyway, I'll be back. I'm going to take a quick break. Let me know in the comments below. Keep your comments coming. Your comments are my fuel. I do read them and I will respond. Thank you for your love. Oh, make sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. All this stuff, like, right? I'm off my little groove, but I just want to make sure that we unite all the real people like all the real people, not grifters, not liars, not shills, fakes. That's like, that's like my passion right there. Besides doing reaction videos. But yeah, I couldn't decide. And maybe I could just skip it for today, because on Wednesdays, I definitely always do one, right? Wednesdays are always reaction no matter what. So I'm going to take a quick break. Let me know, guys. I'll be coming back to read your comments, but I need to take a break before I get into the comments. So I'll be right back at the very least to talk to you live. All right. I will be right back. Right back. Get your popcorn, your drink, go to the restroom, whatever you got to do, but I'll be back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Olga S. Pérez show. Or welcome me back. I was thinking about one of the reaction videos, like I had mentioned during my guest's interview with Brad on doing one of his videos. And I think Tanya, I think I just saw a real quick comment. And I'm just like, I just can't make up my mind which one. And I thought, you know what? Since I usually talk to you guys and I say hello to everyone, I'm just going to jump into that. Hi, the Major. Victor, hello. Patrick, hello. Yes. You're from Kenya, huh? That's right. Great to see you back. Michael Cox, what's up? Where's a Karen when you need her? Oh, what's that? What did I miss? Sean, it was you. That's the comment that I saw out of the corner of my eye. Oh my God. I am totally a fanboy here. Exclamation. So good to see you again, Brad. Smiley face. Very cool. Very cool. Who else? If I miss someone, maybe you watch this replay and know that I say hello. Is it Mick the Painter? Is it that or Mike the Painter? Elise Axtina, hello. The Salty Sabbath, hello. I am a Viennese. I'm on Vine Vase. What's that? Sometimes I'm lost, Sonny. Sometimes I'm lost, but I like to learn. Tanya, hello, beautiful. Enviro Earth 2, hello. You love yourself? That's great. Who else? Oh, Chris Boyd. Hello, hello. So, let me look let me share Rumble. You guys know I'm live on Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. Hello, the Rational Texan. Tanya. You guys are the best. Yeah, see, she did suggest. Oh, I like that suggestion too, the Rational Texan. Some metal, falling in reverse, zombified. That sounds like a good one. But I'm wondering, I'm kind of like, I was so excited with Brad that I got too intense. And I'm feeling like, I don't know, even when I just took a break now, usually helps me get back that, my energy. But I think I can't. I'm telling you, I need a new chair, guys, because my neck is killing me. And, not that I like to complain or always keep saying the same stuff, but it's a reality and it affects me. And I feel like sometimes I do push through and I'll do a reaction video, but then I'm like disappointed in myself because I can tell, like, if I don't have much to say, sometimes the video doesn't give me much to say, or at least when you only watch it one time, as you watch it more and more stuff comes to you, see things, that kind of stuff. But I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Because, yeah, and by the way, the Rational Texan, I will put that, if I don't do it now, then I'll put it on the list for sure. You got it. And I'll pick, because like I said, I mean, if we go back, let's see. So here's Brad's YouTube page, right? Just want to make sure you guys can see. Oh, no. Here we go. So here's this page again. And see, I had already seen that one, the sad little man. So to me, since I always do first time reaction, I was like, what video can I pick to do a first time reaction of Brad? This is 5 Times August Silent War playlist, right? And that's the album that came out in November, and he's got a vinyl coming out, or it's already out. Is it already out? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely gonna do a reaction to one of his videos again. But I feel like some of this stuff, because it is about what's happening and it is important. But I'm like, maybe for today, I can't get into this right now. But yeah, he has I even clicked on his live and like, does he do lives? And it was like a year ago, and I guess he had some episodes here. like, oh, I wonder if that's his brother. Just saying, how cute is that picture, right? That's definitely Brad, right? um, so yeah, I don't know. Lions by 5-time August. That was a month ago. This is horrible that he should have so many more views on these videos. Yeah, that's the unboxing of the vinyl. I saw that on his Twitter. So yeah. And you know me, right? Like when I'm looking for new stuff just to mix it up, not just your request. I went to trending music and guys, look at this. I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard of Little Dirk. And you know me, I'm into pop. Like I'm into like what's happening, what's trending, what's on the Billboard charts. I like to be in the now. You know, I don't get stuck in like songs from like the 90s, 80s or whatever, like a lot of people do, right? And that's all they listen to. And that's it. They don't get out of that. Look at that. Look how I did Shakira. Oh, by the way, remember how it was blocked? Well, they unblocked it finally. But again, I'm probably not going to get the views. But guys, please check it out. It was still always on Rumble, but YouTube, it's back on YouTube. It was like 2 lives ago. I guess it's episode 148, I think. So look at her. She's moving on up. She's on second. But when I was thinking about doing Little Dirk, like let's just check him out. Like who is he? And I not even 3 seconds into it. And again, I'm not trying to watch it because if I'm trying to do a first time reaction, but I was just like, I can't. It just feels icky. Like these people are signed up with the establishment, and I know that it's not going to be pure, and that it's on this one agenda. You know, they're bought and sold. And that's why I definitely been loving this whole journey with you guys of doing live reactions to mostly independent artists. But yeah, so I'm like, and some of these are in Spanish, right? So I'm just like, I don't know, nothing was grabbing me. You know, like that one that I did from like Britain's Got Talent, because that was one of the songs that were trending and it sparked my interest. And then I loved it. Remember that angelic voice of that child? Oh my God. So yeah, oh, look at that. There's Brandon Hart, Space Trash featuring Tom McDonald. Good for them. But I think even a couple days ago they were higher on this trending list on YouTube. And I forget what number he's on I think he's on the Billboard chart too. But yeah. And so I had some stuff to talk about. This particular video on Twitter, very interesting. But I'm thinking maybe I'll just save this for Wednesday's live. Or like I said, I'm actually going to start doing lives every day, 12:30 p.m. So I'm gonna update stuff, and hopefully I gotta double check my schedule, but I'm gonna do every day, and then I think Fridays I'm gonna switch it to Sundays. And I know maybe some of you thought that I was already gonna do that yesterday, and I contemplated it, but then I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it, and so I'm like, all right. Well, I didn't say what Sunday I'm gonna start, but I'm gonna give you guys a heads up. Definitely, I'll post in the community, of course. If you're local, you're gonna know first and foremost. And I'm also thinking about, because when I share this content, like you're seeing right here, this guy says something super interesting, and I got all these tabs open about it. Then I got this other tab of Sneeko and how the manosphere can give terrible advice to young men. That was a really good clip that I wanted to share. But to me, I didn't expect to I didn't know Brad would actually have the time to be on the live as long as he did, and I greatly appreciate it. But that just kind of threw stuff. So I'm gonna let all this prepared. Wait till I tell you about what this neuroscientist found out. And this is all about men. You know me. I got to focus on men here. So, and this is all good stuff and very interesting, empowering stuff. So I will be getting into it. But as of for today, I let me see. Oh, he said out. So Sean Henry, you were talking about a song. You were talking about Brad's song. Wait, Brad has to be one of the most real people, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Statues of Brad, Tom McDonald, Wren, and so many others would be carved in memoriam of their selfless, sacrifices if I have to carve them myself. Wow, powerful, Sean. So, yeah. So, I don't know if anything. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tease you or anything like that. But, oh, yeah. Tanya saying Brittany Griner stood for the anthem and her reaction to that. What? Wait. Also, the ACLU has sent out a travel advisory warning Black people not to travel to Florida. Laugh out loud. I think I saw that. And not only that, I saw some other graduation of Black people that I almost was going to share it, but I'm like, I'm going to focus on my men here, because I'm thinking the more we empower men, they're going to stand up and not take this shit anymore. And that will actually change the social and political landscape that we're currently living in. So that's where I'm like, no, let me keep going with the men thing. Because giving these people more attention, the fake politicians, the losers, sellouts, horrible people. And that's the thing about this video that I was going to share, that I'm going to share it on Wednesday, and how this guy says, I think I figured out why nothing's changing, or why, we can't get the Epstein list or even the judges to do it. And I think most of us could already imagine, right? Where they're just blackmailing each other to the point that everybody's involved, which is very dark to think that everybody, no matter who you think, oh, they're better than this guy and that guy's better than this girl and this and that, as far as politicians and representatives. But the thing, how he says his own story that he witnessed of something very dark, he gave some intel, and I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, he was right. Like, it's true. Like, again, I don't want to give it away. I'm going to save it. I'm going to read your replay, or make sure to comment below if there's something you want me to talk about next time, react to. Make sure to leave it in the comments. Your comments are my fuel, and I will react. I will do it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you don't feel disappointed, but believe me, I'd rather save it than try to run through it just to get it out there, just to do it. Just, I don't like wasting your time. You know that. Your time is precious. And I love you. Until next time, God willing, tomorrow. Much love. Many blessings. And I'll talk to you soon. No, I guess I won't.